Hello, we are here to try to recreate dragon skin, or some people call it crackle. I just noticed my mold has something in it. All right, so I'm back. Got distracted. All right, so this typically takes about 8 ounce of resin to fill these. I went ahead and mixed up 10 because I'm going to divide it amongst 6 cups. And when you put it in the cups, it's you lose some each time you put it in a cup. So that's why I mixed up more. We're just going to do 2 coasters today. So I'm going to start by dividing up my resin. And I might have to go through it a couple of times to get everything right. But I don't want to pour too much in the very beginning. Pull these push ones back over to me because I can't see all the way over there. All right. And now let's see what we got going on in these cups. Maybe a little more here. Maybe a little more here. Maybe a little more here. As you see, it's very scientific. If I was baking, I would never do it this way. But we're not baking. We are resining. All right. So let me tell you a little bit about the resin that we're using. We are using actually one of my favorite resins. It's JDiction. It's the professional series. It's a 1-to-1, and it's a very low viscosity resin. If I was using a thicker viscosity resin, I would be rushing this along because I would want it to stay sort of thin, and as it heats up, it would thicken. But luckily, I don't have to rush like that. I'm just checking my cups again. I want to make sure I got it as close as I can to my pushes too. This one, maybe we need a little more there. All right, so let me take all my cups and spread them out and get a bunch of sticks. I'm using half of my table for a project that I'm finishing up, so we're squished in here just a little bit. All right, so told you about the resin, told you about what we're doing, and let's start mixing everything. So first I have a white mica powder. It's just a straight white mica powder from Let's Resin. With this, what I have learned from what everybody says after I made numerous mistakes, you need a lot of mica powder. It has to be heavy. So I am going to, can you see this? This is really a heaping spoonful. And I'm going to do another one, right? 2 heaping spoonfuls. That's why it sometimes pays to buy your mica powder in bulk. All right, so I'm going to start slowly first so it doesn't all blow back into my face. And then I'm just going to start stirring a little more vigorously. Remember, mica powder can go into the air. It's a good idea to always have your mask on no matter what you're doing. And mica powder is a little difficult to stir into resin. You do have to give it your all. You don't want clumps of mica powder. Luckily, this is a lower viscosity resin, so that's good. So we're not trying to mix it into, say, honey. All right, that's looking pretty good, right? My biggest mistake is always not using enough mica powder, so this time I'm going to go over the top with it. All right. So next is my opaque color, and this is, I don't want it to be transparent, so I'm going to use Mermaid Trash, and this is Bahama Breeze. And I'm going to use, I think, 4 drops to start with, and we'll check it out. 2, 3, 4. Actually, I'm going to go 5. Go 5 right off, because I do want this to not be thin. A thin, transparent color. I want it to be more opaque. And sometimes you have to add a little more color to get it to be opaque. think we need to add just a little bit more. So I'm going to do 2 more drops. All right. That should be good. I'm hoping that I have enough in all these cups to do what I want to do. Yeah, that's looking much better. All right, the next is one of my favorite mica powders, and it's the Bronze by Let's Resin. It's a very, very pretty, you know, color. The same concept goes here. We want to use a lot, more than we normally would. So heaping spoon, and then maybe not so heaping, because I was considering how much resin we have in there, and I don't think we needed 2 heaping spoons. Stir slowly to begin with. I one time went to stir my mica powder and my resin, and I stirred too fast in the beginning, and all like this puff of mica powder came back up in my face. So, lesson learned. And hopefully I stop one of you from doing that so you don't get that experience. Mica powder is no joke. I also spilled some on my carpet, and now I have a patch on my carpet that's blue. Again, it's mica powder, so we want to make sure we give it a good stir. The better mica powders aren't as hard to stir in. Like a Let's Resin mica powder is pretty good. It's when you buy those off cheap ones, because they seem to have more powder than color. All right, look how gorgeous that is. Let's hope the colors I picked will work. All right, so next we are going to use Cast and Craft, and my bottle, I don't know if you heard me say before, is broken, so it's a bit of a mess. And I am going to use 8 drops of this because it's about 1.5 ounces. All right, there's my 8 drops. And I hope to get 2 pours out of each of these cups. That looks pretty good. Making sure it's stirred. All right, next, I divided this into 2 cups only because it helps me remember one is for the beginning, one is for the end, and that way I also don't tend to run out of it. Uses more cups, but it works better for me. I'm going to put a drop in each cup of this, I think it's Monte or something, acrylic ink. I just got it off Amazon. And 1 drop each, because I do want this to be clear, but like a clear colored. Clear colored, that's a special technical term. So I want it to be transparent, I guess is the better word to use, but I do want it to have color. And I like this black because some blacks have a green tint, some blacks have a blue tint. This one, it seems to me more to be a truer black. It has the gray tint to it. Make sure I give that a good stir. Don't want any streaks of black or dots of black. So we've got to make sure it's stirred really well. Next comes the tricky part, and it's the pouring, and it would seem like it would be an easy thing to do, but it's making sure I pour the right amount the first time. And sometimes I'm a little off, so. And we want to get 2 pours out of each cup for each one, except that we have 2 of these. All right, so the first thing we want to do is put our transparent color or our black, and I'm going to use 1 complete cup now. And what I'm going to do is go, actually, I was going to go around the edge, but I think I'm just going to do a center pour. So I've made my cup a little spout, and then I'm just going to, and I can use this whole cup on this, but I don't know that I'm going to. We'll see. Let's see if I divide it evenly enough. Yeah, I think we're going to. So that's our first, our transparent. Now, anytime you're doing like a dragon scale or a cracked glass, I got an itch in my eye, you're going to want to put your white in almost immediately after your, oh, hold on 1 second. Eyelash in my eye or something. It's always something. All right, so you're going to want to pour the white in fairly quickly, because the white, you want to make it to make it to the edge so that it can create the crackle effect. So here I go. And this cup, I actually want to be able to do 4 pours from it. So it's going to be a very little bit that I use. So I'm hoping I didn't use too much. All right. I think that's good. I think that's good. All right. And the same with the rest of the cups that I'm going to do. I have them in the order right now that I'm doing for the first pours. Giving them more stirs. Make sure those colors are mixed in. Same thing with this. This color didn't turn out as bright as I thought, but I think it'll be okay. You also want to make sure you don't dribble your color into another color, because that may mess up the effect that we're going with. I do have my baby wipe here, cleaning up as I go along. All right, now it's this beautiful mica powder that I love. Stirring it again to make sure it's good. Same thing again, just pour. Might have used too much for the first pour for that one. We'll see. All right, and now we have our white. Same thing with this one. I might want to do, cup still feels kind of heavy, so I'm going to go ahead and put just a little bit more. All right, there's the white. Now I'm going to change the order up just a little bit. I am going to do purple, then white, then the bronze, escaped me for a minute, then the white. And now I'm going to use it all. And I'm paying attention to my mold because I'm thinking I don't have room for all of these. So I'm just going to do a little bit. I'm not going to do the full on cup amount. I'll use it in another project because I want to have enough room to get all of these in there. All right, now the white mica powder. This one is an important one, so I am trying to get a good bit of that in there. Then this color that I love, bronze. And I can see my molds are getting really full. I gotta make it through this round though. I gotta make it. All right. So then our white again. Just see how much that's gonna take up. because I want room for my push. So I have to use caution. All right, it looks like I have a little bit of room left for my push. And that is the black gray color. It was in our second cup. Now I'm gonna see how much I can get in there. Oh, I might be okay, right? This looks like it's, I don't want it to get too full though. And if you fill your molds too much, you run the risk of having to sand the edges. And I do like to avoid that, so I'm trying to avoid that. All right, so I did all these. I'm gonna give it a shot of heat. Oh, you know what, I put a lot in that one. I'm hoping I'll be able to put the center in. All right, so for the center, I have from Laura's Art Corner some copper crushed glass bits, and I think it looks very similar to the bronze. So we are going to use this. Get it in there before everything starts to close. I'm just going to use 1/3 of this scoop and pour it what I think is the center. I didn't quite use all of it. And then another one. Or what I think is the center. Again, didn't quite use all of it. I find that the beads spread out, or the crushed glass spreads out, so you really don't need to use as much as you think you do. Now I'm just gonna make sure they're down there. Now the cool thing about these molds is they're not round, so they have edges or little turns, I don't know what you call, little indents. And that will cause this to not be in a complete circle, which I hope gives it a very cool effect. I'm going to give it another hit with heat. And then I think that is all that we're going to do. And now we just wait and hope that when we come back later on, we have either the dragon skin or a cracked glass sort of look. But I love the way the colors are looking now, so fingers crossed that they continue to look like that, just pushing that glass down. I'm just going to keep an eye on this little glass for a couple minutes to make sure no air bubbles pop up. But otherwise, I'll see you back in a bit. All right, we are back to see how these worked out. I do like this side. It's very pretty. The colors, the orange, purplish, and it came out purplish. That's really gorgeous. Well, let's see if it did anything that we wanted it to. Oh, wow, look at that. That is just gorgeous. I wish more of the purplish, maroonish color came through, but my goodness, that is really just gorgeous. I love the two sets that came out really, really nice. Let's see what this one looks like. Oh yeah, look at that. That is just a lovely, lovely coaster. Just nice. They're just wonderful. I like both sides.